My iPad Air 4th generation, I've had this for about 3 years now, and it has been discontinued since 2022. I would consider this a great budget option as I haven't felt the battery degrade. It's still been upkeeping with my everyday performance, and as we know, allegedly what happens to older devices as newer ones come out, it tends to affect it, but I haven't actually seen this yet with this. So let's go inside. It's gonna get a bit hot here and dive more into this. I'll say this from the jump, even though this is discontinued, don't make this sway your decision from even getting a refurbished version, as you can still expect support from Apple for the next 5 to 7 years. So given that it was discontinued in 2022, it should last up to like 2027 to 2029. That's just a general estimate of how much support you'll get after a device is actually discontinued from Apple. But first thing actually I would like to point out is this isn't the biggest screens of the iPad, but this is still I feel like a fairly decent size of a screen to use for various different occasions. It has a 10.9 liquid retina display, which I feel is good enough, especially when you compare it with a iPad mini, which makes it feel like it's considerably huge, but not as huge as the iPad Pro. This is great for various different use cases. For example, when you're watching movies at home, playing games at Warzone Mobile, or even using split view just to multitask between browsing and also just general day-to-day things on your iPad. I just feel when you're actually using that multitasking, it just gives you a lot more breathing room opposed to if I was to do it on my iPad mini. The only thing about a bigger screen size, it doesn't really make it the most portable option, so that's something that actually you might want to really consider as well. But it will still come in handy if you got enough space to carry this 458 grams of piece of tech around. This uses a USB-C port, which is much more powerful and gives you the opportunity to actually connect an external hard drive to transfer anything to, especially when you see that iCloud full message, which is probably like the most annoying thing that happens on our Apple devices. This is a 64 gig and also comes in a 256 gig storage option. Now with the two, there's approximately like an $80 difference with the refurbished iPads, but I'll just recommend going for the larger storage if you do intend on storing things on there, just free up a bit more coins. But however, if you intend to just keep it very simple, use it for day-to-day tasks and not really have a lot of things on there, then you can save a few coins by not even spending that $80. Now moving on to the camera, I'm not the one to typically be taking pictures on the iPad unless I'm actually scanning documents, but for the most part, I'll just quickly grab my phone as I always have it handy. But this has got a wide 12 megapixel camera with a 5x digital zoom and smart HDR. You can also record 4K 20 frames per second and 1080p slow motion. But let's be real, who is actually using slow motion on an iPad? I, for one, may never use it. I don't think I'll ever use slow motion, but if you do use it, please feel free to tell me some scenarios where it actually comes in handy. Moving to the front is the main camera, which is most important to me and I probably mainly use. So it has a 7 megapixel camera with no center stage, in which you'll find the new iPads. And if you don't know what center stage is, it basically uses the camera and AI to track your face movements and keep you framed. So if you're using Skype, FaceTime, Zoom, whatever it is to do any video conferencing call or even just speak to a family member, center stage comes in handy. Will just keep you tracked throughout the whole thing. Now, after having this for quite a while, I decided, you know what, let me get something that's a bit more portable, a bit more lightweight, and I got the iPad mini 6. After I've been using this, I thought to myself, you know what, these are basically siblings. There's no real difference between the two, except for this is newer, different design, different specs, but for the most part, they're just siblings. This is like the bigger version to the iPad mini 6. This is just a bit faster. Overall, still a great device. It has dual speakers top and bottom to give it that surround sound with Touch ID at the top. They do have two different versions, which is the Wi-Fi and then also the GPS cellular. I wouldn't really recommend getting that cellular version, as I wouldn't really see a real need for it unless you're the type of person to actually have a keyboard attached to this and just use it as a mini laptop. But for the most part, I don't even see it necessary where I have an iPad over 100 gig data. I will just happily hotspot my iPad and I'll be on my way, to be honest. Generally, most places that you'll go to, a cafe or whatnot, will have just free Wi-Fi. You can just connect to them and use to browse. But to wrap this up, you can grab a refurbished iPad Air 4th generation for around 589 CAD, but if you do shop around, you can generally find a bargain for a bit cheaper as well. I still think it's a great option. It holds up well, but if you do have a bit more coins to spare, go and grab the 5th generation, which is sporting the M1 chip, a bit faster, opposed to going for the Pro yet. Or if you even got that much to spare, then yeah, feel free to just get the Pro as it's a newer device. Or even take a look at iPad mini 6th generation, which I've got and I've done a review up here, as that's also a great portable option as well. Anyway, thank you for watching and I will catch you in the next video.